Right then, Luke, do you reckon this week we should leak the secret details that we know about the next Halo game that's coming and the next Forza game that's coming?
Nope.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Britcast. I'm David Birch, and this week I'm joined, as always, with the only man that wears a waistcoat to open his bank statement, Luke Riley.
Good day, everyone.
How you doing there, man?
Good, not bad, not bad. A week of gaming for once.
I know, yeah, I've been sitting down playing a hell of a lot of things. Been catching up on a few bits and pieces, trying to clear out my back catalogue. And there's another swig of tea in the background from yourself, I hear.
Earl Grey, always.
Always, Captain Picard in it all the time.
Earl Grey hot.
That's cool. Well, we've got quite a bit to talk about, really, because after my absent last week with my throat infection sounding a bit like Barry White, I didn't want to bring that to the airwaves. We've got a bit of catching up to do with the PlayStation 4 announcement, haven't we?
Yep, with the child catcher on stage, taking centre stage.
The child catcher. You did say this to me before. Explain more.
It was that guy on the stage, he was like, came out, and he literally, all I needed was a top hat and the black cape, and he was like, "Hello children, welcome to the PS4. Pretty much it.
That's going to get some great publicity, that is. Nice one, boy. That's going to go well. But, I mean, I think all in all, from the PS4 launch, I mean, we discussed it a couple of weeks previously. A lot of the stuff, I think, had been leaked out already that we saw. I mean, the pad, for one. The pad looked very, very nice. I think we talked about that, saying that, yes, I don't think they've completely got rid of the look of the DualShock. They've just made a few fine touches to it, as far as I could say. I mean, what did you think about the new little touchpad on there and everything like that?
It looks like, it reminds us of, the pad looks good, but the touchpad, it looks like one of those, when you're in the doctors and the red letters go across. It just reminds us of that, yeah. I don't know what the function is of it. Is it going to appear like a screen where it's got actual... Like,
you know what I thought it would look like? You know when they had the racing game and the guy when they demoed that racing game on stage, and I got the feeling that you could probably move your thumb across that and maybe use it to look, rather than an analog stick. Maybe you can pick a direction, and it'll sort of, if you want to look in your rearview mirror, you just sort of tap the left side of it and you'll look to the left mirror. And if you release it, it'll just have a spring back. I don't know. It could have a functionality like that. It's a good idea, but I couldn't really see the total benefits of it. Because, I've always read I'm a fan of buttons, none of this touchscreen business.
I would want any motion control. The idea of the Oculus, whatever it's called, Oculus Rift, where you're the virtual, I just want to be on a couch with a kind of cork and a pad, press buttons and play a game.
Really?
Yes, I do not want motion control at all. Unless it's a 1-to-1 ratio lightsaber fighting game. Not that Star Wars Kinect bollocks.
No, I've not really been a fan. We've got a Kinect in our house, and I think all it really gets used for is some fitness game where I just see Sophie dancing around the house like a crazy person and desperately trying to keep up with Zumba. But bless her, coordination is a bit pear-shaped sometimes. And I do forget she's listening to the show, so she's going to kill me after she hears this one. Oh, well. But no, I think it looks like... Well, I've seen some of the pictures since of the controller, and it kind of looks like there's a move sort of sensor built into the back of it. There's that light blue section on the other side. So I was wondering, I know they had the 6-axis thing in there before. I just wondered, I reckon it's just an update of that. They've integrated move technology in there, so you'll be able to throw your pad around the sitting room and hopefully knock some people out on the next Quantic Dreams title.
Grandma getting her face knocked out by a kid.
Exactly, yeah. You've seen enough of those Kinect fail videos on YouTube to know that motion gaming is not good.
I haven't actually, but I'm going to search them after this podcast.
Yeah, they are worth a look. But, when we first got the Kinect and we were playing Kinect Sports, we had a little incident where the Warlock was sat on a chair and I was playing, like, the ping pong game, and I had a bit of a stumble and a swing, and trust me, I shaved the top of his head with the back of my hand. It would have been like some comic timing slap. But, yeah, well... lucky save, really. But, yeah, the pad, it's all good. Motion control, and I think is going to be part of it as well. We did see it right at the end. There was a little flash of what the new PlayStation Eye looked like as well, wasn't there?
Was it? I missed that completely. I was, in all honesty, I really wanted those towers back. of my life
Yeah.
because it was what was seen of the games were like eye-watering, but the presentation itself, it was a really, really bad sales pitch.
Yeah, it was a bit dry. I mean, I was excited to see the games. I mean, there was a few of us online all talking and watching at the same time, and it wasn't really exciting for the gamers. I felt it was a little bit too corporate
Mm.
for the level of what they're going for. But I suppose it delivered the messages of what it was. But there was a little thing with the new version of the PlayStation Eye or whatever it looked like. It looked suspiciously like a Kinect thing. I'm sure there was either 2 or 3 cameras on it. So I don't know. I think it was inevitable we were going to see that, and I'm sure it's going to be bundled in the box as well.
I think like online passes, they're gonna shove the motion control down our throats till we just lie down and take it. They're gonna do that. Excuse the pun, but that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna have us. They're gonna rape us with motion control, Dave. Is what I'm saying.
No, I mean, how do you mean with the online passes? You mean like there was no choice?
There
You're
was
going to
no
have to do
choice in
it?
that. Like everyone did people didn't like it. There was low attachment to it at the start, but then after that it was like, oh well, this is how it's gonna be. And then people with Dead Space, which is just a whole another conversation. It's down our throats.
Yeah, I suppose it is. I mean, we did have a little show from Square Enix as well. Mind you, I don't have to say from Square Enix, they did manage to get us all ask us to get all excited for E3 because all they brought to that PS4 demo, as far as I was concerned, was a year-old tech demo.
Well, I think like Kara was said to be that's going to be a game, the new game from Quantic Dream, the
Hmm.
robot game. I think the tech demo was saying is going to be Final Fantasy. And looking at that video, if that is in game, I will be impressed. Yes, I want games to have a good story and a really good gameplay, but I also want games to look good.
Yeah. Well, no, there is. I mean, let's face it, the Final Fantasy games have never exactly looked bad,
Mm.
have they? I mean, even Final Fantasy 13, that was a bit of a shit game, in my opinion.
It's bad.
It just took far too long and it was far too linear and all that stuff. But when you came to the cutscenes and the FMVs, they've always looked good. I mean, even when you think back to how Final Fantasy 7 looked on the PS1, those cutscenes were very, very impressive. But that's with Square. I mean, when do they come across when the actual gameplay looks as good as those FMVs? Because they're so good at that rendering.
Mm.
If this hardware is much more powerful, then those videos are going to look spanktastic. But the gameplay is going to look really, really good, but not quite as good as those cutscenes. I think that's always going to be the gap that Square have with Final Fantasy.
No, what I mean to say is I think that demo was the in game.
You really do.
I fucking hope so.
I think you've been putting some more of that magic sauce in your hot chocolate because I don't think that's the gameplay.
Well,
I really.
Killzone Shadowfall, when he was lying down, it was all blurry. That looked like a cinematic, but that was in game.
True.
It wants to look as good as that. I haven't waited fucking 8 years for next gen to have a game look like, I don't know,
Was
graphics
I the
turned
only,
on high.
yeah, was I the only person that wasn't really excited for the Killzone game?
This not. I loved the Killzone 2. Killzone 2 is my favorite still. Killzone 3 is good, but I don't know. It is that not. It doesn't seem to be as big of a push for it from the point of Sony's. They're doing that thing again where they're just presenting a game and just hope it sells. They're not.
Yeah, yeah, I suppose. I mean, with Killzone 3, I didn't go out and buy the game. I played, when they allowed you to play the multiplayer. Excuse me, the multiplayer just for free to play, was it, on the PlayStation? I did that, but the thing I've got with that is I know it's all unique and people do like the handling of the way it feels very, very weighty.
Mm-hmm.
But I always had a problem with the size of the analogs, the way the first-person shooters play on the PlayStation. I've never been able to get on with it. I don't know if it's just because I've got big hands and I do hold the pad in quite a funky way when I'm playing. I just could never get on with it. I'd be shooting to the left, to the right, to the left, to the right, and then I'm dead. That's generally what I find with Killzone. I might just be
Yeah,
bad at the game.
my friends don't like it because they say it's too chaotic. They say it's just so much stuff happening at once, and that's my kind of game I like. But they're just like, oh, it's too much happening. Because in Killzone, like the name of the game, there is a kill zone. You'll get from your spawn points, and there's just a point in the map where the battle's going on. You get to that point, and it's just like a clusterfuck of shooting.
Yeah. Well, it does. I mean, it did look very impressive. Don't get me wrong, it did. But there was like a few people that pointed out there was a few clipping things and people popping in and out of the background. So that Killzone game, I don't think it's as far as long as people are liking to think. I mean, because we did. I mean, if you work out how much gameplay time we saw out of anything they showed, there wasn't a lot of gameplay there. I mean, what was that other game? Crank they showed.
Knack.
Knack. I keep calling it Crank. I don't know why, but I got Jason Statham in there as well.
Fuck that.
But easy. And I just that game just didn't really sort of appeal to me. It looked really good, don't get me wrong, but I was tweeting with a couple of people while the show was going on, and they were saying it looks like a Disney Pixar film, just like you did the other day.
Yes.
That doesn't necessarily appeal to me to want to play in a Pixar game, but that's just me. I think I'm just being down on games from how we've spoke about previously. I need to see something next gen, something evolutionary for gaming. You know, Knack it looked good, don't get me wrong, it could be quite playable. It just didn't seem like it was my cup of tea at all.
I'm looking forward to. We haven't even got to the console. Just point out, I do not like Jason Statham at all. He's the worst actor. Moving on, we haven't even got to PS4 yet, and I'm already excited for the games we're going to see at the end of the next gen. Like the games now we've got for the 360. We never thought we were going to get games to look this good 5 years ago, and we're seeing games just out for the PS4, and I can't wait to see games that end of next gen.
It's interesting you should say that as well, because there's been some rumours circulating that the next Gran Turismo will be a PlayStation 3 game, and it'll probably come out after the launch of the PS4. Now, this isn't something Sony haven't done before, because they did it with God of War 2, didn't they, on the PlayStation 2 days. I don't know about that one. I think if they're going to bring out a Gran Turismo, they need to bang it on the PS4, personally. They need to make that a platform. I mean, what was the name of that racing game? It eludes me that they showed at the PlayStation event. It looked good anyway, whatever it was, because I'm a big racing fan. I do love my racing games. I've been out there and I bought Grid on the Xbox Ultimate Game sale for like £2.70 or something, £2.69. I thought I'd give that a blast. I'm a sucker for a racing game, and I've been enjoying that. So I just think that the Gran Turismo 6. Is it Gran Turismo 6? Or am I missing a jump here?
Yeah, it is 6, for the PS3, next one.
Yeah, there's so many, see, brand fatigue. But I think that should have been a PS4 game. That might have leaned me to buy a PS4 100%
It's called Drive Club, the game.
That's the one, yeah, Drive Club. Yeah, I mean, that looked really, really good. Like I say, a driving game will bring me in to buy a new console. But then at the same time as well, I suspect we're going to have a Forza on the next Xbox as well. Without doubt, actually. Turn 10's been far too quiet, to be honest.
Well, the Forza was the most recent one, Horizon. I didn't play much of it, but it did look amazing for Xbox. Like, I can't even begin to think what the games are going to look like. Not next gen, but the gen after. Like 10 years in advance. My friend doesn't like it. My friend Scott, my tattoo guru, he doesn't like the way games are going. He wants games to look like games. He doesn't want them to look too realistic.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a few people put that argument to me as well. The photorealistic side of things, they're not too keen on. But then when they look at Watch Dogs, they're like, wow, that looks amazing. And if that looked pretty damn good as far as I was concerned at that PlayStation event, very, very interested in that game.
It's interesting. I like how you can look at somebody and they'll be like going to the bank or they said about the job, what job they're having, like that.
Yeah, it's got some interesting things, but I suspect there's going to be an element of social media attachment with that as well.
I think there will be. I think you're going to be able to broadcast where you are in the world.
Yeah, they'll also
share with your friends and stuff like that.
I said you'll be able to affect your friends' games even when you're not actually on the console. But I think that'll have something to do with the way the social media link up and all the share button and all that type of stuff's going to link in with the next gen.
I might do that. I might partake in a little video sharing, but I'm not gonna. I don't want that to become why I play. I don't want to play a game. I don't want to play a game thinking, oh, what can I share today? I want to play the game and then think, oh, that will be good to share.
I don't do any of that. I've never done any of the capture. Never done anything like that. I mean, I've got friends that do it. But with me with gaming, I mean, you know what I'm like on my Xbox profile. I sit in offline mode all the time.
Yes.
And just,
And you tweet pictures of people watching Netflix or 4OD. Hello there.
Yeah, you were one of them people. When I had 8 people online, everybody want to turn my Xbox
I
on
knew
the
it was
one
me
day.
because I was on 4D at the time watching Utopia.
Yeah, 8 people I knew were all sat there watching Netflix, 4OD, Sky Player, all this type of stuff. Not one person was playing a fucking game.
Dave's sitting there like Dr. Claw. I'll find you.
Exactly. There's me going through a back catalogue of. I mean, I've got a stack of nearly 30 Xbox games here, and I've probably got 8 or 10 of those to finish, plus all the ones I've got downloaded to my hard drive. And I'm thinking, I don't know what to play. I've got too much to play. What my friends playing? Nothing.
They're
They're watching.
watching
They're
Arrested
watching.
Development.
They're watching embarrassing baddies. I've got my missus watching some terrible chick flick. I've got other people there just watching terror program. I'm like, you know what? You're all mad, so I had to tweet. But I did keep your gamer tags all hidden because there's
Yes,
a
you
few
did.
people grumbling saying you can't broadcast people's gamer tags. Well, I could have. I was that
I wouldn't
angry.
give a monkeys anyway.
Nah. Well, hopefully people will start playing more games and watching less fucking television on their next gen consoles. But I highly doubt that.
No, it's all gonna be. It's gonna still be the entertainment hub of the living room.
Will it balls? That's what I say. But I think one thing that did interest me that we spoke about was how Gaikai. I mean, we knew Gaikai was going to be integrated into the new system. We'd have been stupid to think that it wasn't. But they did. What did they say about that? You can try before you buy. There was an element of that in there as well. I did like that feature, because let's face it, Aliens Colonial Marines wouldn't have sold as many copies if somebody could have pressed a button and started to download it and given it a little test run beforehand.
You need to play the full game for that game. You need to play. In that game is co-op dependent. That was so much fun because of the co-op. I didn't like the idea of it before I started playing it, but that game has like increased my liking of co-op in the game. Alien Colonial Marines was awesome.
Yeah, I still can't believe you haven't got any Borderlands 2 properly. Really dug deep into that game.
What I did play that I did like, and I'm looking to go back to it because I know for a fine fact this summer's going to be dry again.
Oh yeah, standard. Well, this I think it's going to be particularly bad. That's why you should take advantage of all these gaming sales on the PSN and the Xbox Live as well.
Arkham Asylum's $2.69. That's
Exactly.
crazy.
If anybody out there has been missed that, go look. There's cheap games. PSN and Xbox Live are both offering some really good games at really cheap prices.
Fallout 3 is $5. That is ridiculous value.
It is spectacularly
It's
so.
on the front. It's on the front screen. It's got a picture of Batman.
Yeah.
Ultimate game sale.
Exactly. But then we just go back to this Gaikai thing, because I wanted to raise this point. We're obviously saying that Sony is saying that they're not going to ban used games. Yeah, I agree with that. Fair play to them. Hats off to them with that one, because if they ban used games, whichever console bans a used game, I'm going to make the other one my main number one console. That's just out of, I have to do that just to make a point. But the Gaikai thing's interesting. If it works as well as they do, if that would eliminate midnight launches, that would eliminate having to go walking across cities, for bloody 9 o'clock on a winter's morning and stand outside a shop which opens late. I like that idea, I do. But the one problem I've got with it is, will the first gen of these release consoles have hard drives big enough to cope with that demand? That's one thing I'm concerned about.
I think about this. So Metal Gear Solid 4 is 50 gig. How long are you going to have to wait? They're going to have to do a thing where you can download the game like before it's out, long before it's out, but then you like activate it when the game is actually released with like a kilobyte activation. What you do now with DLC on games, anyway.
And we're back after a slight technical hitch. I bet you didn't notice anything. Right, where were we? We were talking about Gaikai, weren't we?
Yes, we were pre-owned and shops and being open in time.
Yes, definitely. I think it's a good idea. I do like that idea, but I suspect my lazy side is definitely going to come out with that one. I think I can imagine my hard drives will be bursting at the seams quite quickly.
Do we even know the size of the hard drive we're going to get with the PS4?
I don't think there was any mention of it, because it's one thing I did look at. Because I did a bit of research when there was a news story about Uncharted 3 direct download with something like 87 gig, wasn't it, or something like that?
What?
I'm sure I saw that in one report, so I thought, well, okay, so if that's coming down at that type of size, obviously in a non-compressed file, that is epically large. So if a hard drive is anything under a terabyte, that thing's going to fill up pretty damn fast as far as I'm concerned.
Well, that's going to be like 10 games, and you'll have to delete them.
Yeah, that's the thing as well. I'd hate to do that. I mean, obviously you'd be able to re-download them if you wanted to, but when you've got like a massive collection of games and you get somebody over and you want to play something or show them something, the fact that you'll have to delete something to re-download it, that could get a bit awkward. It'd be interesting if, like you said, if there was you downloaded, say, a 2 gig file, if the console was always online and it automatically connected to Gaikai and it
Mm.
just streamed the rest of the game, that'd be good. I can't remember if that's a feature that they said would happen though.
I think it'd be interesting to see. And another thing what I've been hearing or seeing mention of is it going to be like a one-off cost for Geico? I think it'll be subscription, won't it? It'll be like Love Film.
There might be, but if it's integrated into what? I mean, the next PSN, the online version, whatever PlayStation call it, I don't think it's going to be free of charge. I think it will be subscription based or just, a one-off annual cost of whatever, like, say 60 quid or
Mm.
50 quid for argument's sake. And maybe the Gaikai service will be supported within that. That's what I suspect they'll do. I mean, because when you flip it over the other side, I mean, everybody's going on about how this Geico thing will be brilliant and revolutionary and it'll put the PlayStation ahead. But you forget, Microsoft's got the cloud,
Mm.
haven't they? And then it's a very similar system to what Gaikai will be. Microsoft, it's an in-house development, I believe. So the systems are going to be very similar in that regard.
It's interesting to see what they're going to do because PS3 they're going to have to trust. They're going to have to make sure Gaikai can, or the people behind Gaikai, did Sony buy them out?
Yeah.
So it's owned by Sony, run by someone else. They're going to have to make sure that that they've got everything a tight ship run. Otherwise, it's going to fuck up because they need it sorted for the launch. They can't have it launch and all of a sudden it's just going down when everyone's meant to be playing it.
To be honest, if they've got part of that service up and running, I mean, I don't necessarily think it'd be at maximum capacity when it's launched, just because of the way the new system's got to be. I mean, if everything's up and running on day one, brilliant, that's good. But if I was them, I'd slowly build up to that. There hasn't been a console that when everything they've talked about has not always been available at launch, as far as I can remember. They all talk about everything it can do and will do over a duration of time.
Right.
There is a launch window with hardware as well, and with hardware comes the software on board. And they slowly switch things on, don't they?
Well, I don't think it'll be everything out at once. I think it'll be a slow rollout. So you'll get like the PS4 launching and then a taster of what Gaikai can do, kind of thing.
Yeah. So, hopefully some heavy promotion for it anyway, as we spoke about before. I mean, we're talking about all this stuff about PlayStation. I've noticed that Microsoft's been getting quite an unfair kicking in the gaming media because they haven't talked about anything. But at the point of us recording this here, there is actually an internal Microsoft event going on today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. Showing, they're showing, it's in a private function, or it's only internal people, invite only for Microsoft employees, just to show them what the next generation of their console is going to be.
Mm.
So I think come Wednesday evening, I suspect the leaks will start springing out everywhere with some more, because at the moment in time, specs are specs of what these consoles can do. And PlayStation specs were rumoured, I think, and a little bit of research before we came on the show without boring everybody to death. I think there was 14 different leaks of what the PlayStation was going to be able to do hardware-wise.
It started with random images of console measurements, and then that turned out to be the Super Slim.
Mm-hmm.
It's just random. It was really weird lead up to the PS4 announcement. It was like everyone clamoring for any little detail in the hopes that they were right.
Yeah, precisely. I mean, nothing was really substantiated until they spoke about it. But when you look back at how many things were wrong about what PlayStation's capabilities were going to be, everything we're in about Microsoft and the next Xbox has got to be. Maybe there's a bit of truth out there, but we're not going to know. I think we're going to start hearing more and more leaks. Well, we will do. I suspect by the end of this week we'll be inundated with them. And I think probably come mid-April, before the end of April anyway, I think Microsoft would have held a launch. Well, not a launch, as it were, more of an announcement of what it can do. So we can really go in with the fighting spirit into E3 this year. They get the hardware out of the way, they get the technical specifications. PlayStation are clearly holding back a lot of the details of what that machine can do, and I suspect what software is going to be available. And Microsoft are going to do the same thing as well.
I think that the E3 with Sony, they're gonna try the best to like make it spectacular. They need to not have it be corporate, like there was the presentation. If they have E3 as corporate as it did before, it's gonna be stupid.
Well, you don't want to see another hour presentation of whatever the hell Wonder Book.
Ugh, fucking hell, waste of time that was.
I thought you loved it. I thought you were so happy when we sat through that whole thing.
Yep, I was so happy I wanted to rip my eyes out and then see if the person could use the move to magic them back in my face.
My favourite bit was your reaction to when Usher came out, but let's not go there. Let's not go there. Yeah, anyway. But that's what...
like, paycheck.
Yeah. But before we digress into a Riley rant, let's back away from that one, like a cheap wine. But I think we've just got an interesting E3. Microsoft are going to show something very, very soon. And like some developers have sort of hinted at, they've seen both platforms now. And a lot of them have said that the differences are very minor in what the software can offer. So that leads me to believe a lot of the stuff, the share, the this, the that, the jump through the hoop, the tweet when you're having a shit and you paused your game. I think all of that type of stuff is going to be on both platforms. But this is the point I'm going to get to. When I was looking at that event, there was all this fancy stuff you could do. Now, maybe it might be showing my age, but realistically, all I really give a shit about was the games. I didn't want to know about share buttons and...
I don't care. I want games. That's all I want.
Yeah, and the past, when you're struggling in the game, you can press a button and your mate can play it for you as well.
Fuck that shit. It's my game.
Exactly.
It's my game, motherfucker.
Yeah, and, well, I've just got a nasty feeling I can imagine. There's a couple of people that I won't mention them by name on here, Tonga, but I can imagine I'll be finishing all of his games. Because unless it's co-op, the dude struggles. Because he's a casual gamer. He likes playing multiplayer with all of us guys online. But when it comes single-player campaign, if he doesn't put it on bloody tourist mode, being easy, he will just struggle with that game. And no detriment to him. He does not play 60 hours a week like the rest of us. He probably plays 8 to 10. But when it's like, oh, can you just finish this level? That's going to happen to a lot of hardcore gamers that are playing with casual gamers, I think. More than people realise. People will be going, no, you're wrong. It's going to happen. You're going to have that little nephew out there that's struggling, and his dad's going to say to you, oh, do you mind just helping him out with this level? And you're going to be playing other people's games. I mean, I've already...
My nephew comes up with us and says, oh, Luke, do this level on Batman. I just stand there and watch because he needs to finish the game himself. My friend as well, like in your fashion, mentioned only I'm Scott again. He used to say to me, oh, do you want to play? Do you want to have a go with Darksiders? I knew for a fine fact it was, do you want to have a go with Darksiders to finish this level? I'm like, no, Scott, do it yourself.
Yeah, precisely. I think we're going to see more of that. But that's a function that I don't think is really going to interest me at all. But I just want to see more games. I don't think I saw enough games at the PS4 event, so I'm reserving judgment on exactly what they can do until I see more and more of the software. But moving swiftly on with a crafty little segue, one of the games that they did show there was Destiny.
Yes.
And one thing I will get to, I was really, really surprised, and I got this really wrong with talking to people, at how in bed Bungie were with Microsoft and how in bed Activision are with Microsoft. I was expecting Bungie with Destiny not to say that there was exclusive DLC, exclusive content just for the PlayStation 4. I was quite taken aback by that.
That is, well, that's either Bungie saying, oh, well, Activision saying, oh, well, kind of, because you've like Activision, they had all the exclusives for Call of Duty on the Xbox. And I think this is them showing doing the other thing.
I don't know if it's smoke and mirrors, that one, because I wouldn't be surprised if you're going to hear a lot more about Destiny at E3, and they're going to say, and the Xbox has got exclusive content just for 720 users or whatever. But all in all, detracting away from where their loyalties lie, because we're all guessing at that one, I'm quite interested in that game. I don't know about you.
What's that, sorry?
I'm quite interested in that game.
Oh yeah, it looks good. I thought you meant I was interested in how they're going to market it. The game itself looks interesting. I like the idea of a first-person shooter that's online, but changes when you're not playing it. Like leaving the game for a week, you're going to go back to a world that's going to have changes. And that's exciting.
It is, yeah. I mean, when we had Marcus on the show, he said people there said it did seem like very much like a corporate Kickstarter event. But I'm holding out hope. Bungie have always delivered. I've always enjoyed their games. I know people haven't, but I have. I've always liked the worlds they've created. But this time around, I think if they're investing that much time and money, and they're talking about this thing lasting a decade, this story's going to roll out over that amount of time. I mean, I take it there's going to be a story thread that'll have a certain amount of completion time, but then there'll just be exploration, places to go. I mean, they were talking about other planets. I'm pretty sure of it because some of the screenshots and the artwork they showed, like a destroyed fleet of ships around orbiting Saturn.
That'd be good.
Like that.
What I like the idea of is that the game, you said the story thread, like there's a countdown to certain events happening. Maybe a battle is going to happen, and then you do what you need to do to prepare for that battle and do side quests to kind of aid whatever faction in that battle. Actually having an effect on the outcome. So you have all these online players deciding how they want the battle to end, and whoever does the more side quests, that's what happens to obviously you've got to take part in the battle to win it, but then you can do what you can in the meantime to sway the advantage.
I mean, that to me looked like a true. Well, from what they were saying, I mean, I know we've probably seen about 4 seconds of gameplay, but it does seem like a true next generation game. It's just pinged on my radar as just that. Watch Dogs definitely looks interesting for his technical ability of what they've shown so far. I just hope that world's big enough to explore. And I hope the same with Destiny because they're saying it is that big. I mean, 10 years, that's good, but at the same time, when you're saying there's a countdown to a battle and event happening, that's going to be strange for people who only play casually. Like we mentioned, people that only play maybe 8 to 10 hours a week, and then there's people like us that play a hell of a lot more than that, where we're going to see the lion's share of that game. And, it's going to be, I suspect there'll be microtransactions in there as well, which we'll get to microtransactions later. But that game's obviously going to be supported by that. If there's no subscription fee, which that's what they've said as well.
That's interesting, because it's going to be a long, like you said, 10 years of a game time, so having no subscription fee, I think it's risky. But they will fund it, won't they, obviously, by microtransactions like Lord of the Rings Online. Yeah.
They've got to find a way of supporting it and obviously keeping the gamers interested as well.
Well, they have to, but that's one thing, they have to make it. They can't just kind of release the game and then think, oh, it's a new kind of game, let's roll with this for a year. They have to. Warcraft's really good with doing updates all the time. There's the main expansions, but they update the game often to keep you interested. And I think they're gonna have to do that for Destiny, like once every 3 months. Like instead of where it will be a DLC patch, just add new quests to the game.
Sorry, I was having a quick sugar drink myself. Yeah, I think there'll be content packs that always come out, and that'll probably be the vein of how they do with the microtransactions. I call them microtransactions, but I suspect there'll be some bigger payments in there. Because, the whole payment model, I think, for what's going to happen with the next gen is going to change. I think you'll be buying a game, season passes will be a lot more expensive. Big open world games, whatever Obsidian deliver, and whatever the next Skyrim, Elder Scrolls game, that's obviously going to be on a vast scale to what Skyrim was.
But Witcher 3's been announced for the next console as well, apparently.
Yeah, and that's been described as massively open as well, bigger than Skyrim or something like that. Somebody said as well.
I heard it's going to be much bigger. But with that being said, though, they can have the bigger world but maintain the graphics of the other game, which is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's going to be a long time before we see open world games look like Heavy Rain or like any game, because of the size of the world, they can only do so much with that.
Yeah, but the processing power of these machines, I think we're going to be seeing a lot more. One thing I want to bunny hop across to on this subject that we were just talking about was microtransactions. And what EA said recently, that it's going to be integrated into a lot more of their games, if not all of them, because of the way it has been embraced by gamers.
Bullshit.
Exactly. I was quite, if people remember, I was quite outspoken about what they did with Dead Space 3 and all that Day 1 DLC nonsense. But the fact that they're actually saying that gamers have embraced microtransactions is somewhat of a little bit insulting, because they're basing it on those packs, aren't they? The Ultimate Team packs you can buy for like the football, the soccer, and the ice hockey games. There's a lot of money being. I know people that spend a lot of money on those packs and get nothing out of them, may I add. unless they spend hundreds and hundreds of pounds. I mean, one guy, I won't name him for the stupidity, but I know he's close to spending 500 quid since the recent FIFA game came out, and he's quite happy to say that he's done that just to boost up his team. But I wouldn't say that's been embraced by all gamers. There's a lot of EA titles out there that don't need that in. I mean, what's going to happen with the next Mass Effect game? Is it going to? I tweeted out, is it going to be pay per planet that you land on? You know, where does it? Where's the boundaries of where this becomes completely idiotic?
It's not going to stop, is it? It's like they're going to keep. They're going to keep. Like I say, they're going to just do it. So we have to do it to play the games. We have to. It's going to be. You're going to get given. You're going to buy a game. Wink, wink, and then you're going to have every 3 months. Oh, the new quest. Pay £10 to finish the story you bought the game for.
Yeah. That could get really quite annoying because EA have got some games I enjoy. I mean, we'll talk about Crysis 3 in a bit, but that's EA published that. There's Mass Effect 3 as well, which I've been enjoying, and I just mentioned as well, that Citadel DLC, which is coming out quite soon, looks quite interesting as well.
Yeah, put the hands on like a lot of franchises that people like, and they're ruining it because of the way they do things.
Yeah, that's my fear for the next Mass Effect title. I mean, like, we discussed Mass Effect before in a show about storylines and suggestions of where it could go. But if this microtransaction thing, it could potentially ruin a series like that, I think. Because I don't want it in there. I hate seeing things where you can pop up, buy this now to get an extra power up, or unlock this gun early. And what happened with Battlefield 3 as well, where I spent hours grinding through that game, only to people to be able to buy all the unlocks a matter of months later.
I didn't even do that either. I thought I want to upgrade because I just like it just defeats the purpose of the progression of the game.
Yeah, the unlocks. I mean, you get a rank that moves, so you're still harvesting up XP. But if you've got all the unlocks, you sort of take something away from it, in my opinion. But I just that's my biggest fear now with EA, that they're going to spoil a lot of games that I really like. They've wrecked Dead Space as far as I'm concerned. But one game that they haven't wrecked is Crysis 3. I've been really enjoying that game.
I've seen it. I haven't played it, but I've seen it played at my friends, and it does look amazing.
It is a really good game. The multiplayer, that I will say this, that my God, there are a lot of hard crashes on that multiplayer. There's a little bug on the if you're in party chat and you try and join somebody's online lobby, and the amount of hard crashes me and a couple of people have had, it's ridiculous.
You mean the whole console just bugs out and freezes?
Yep, I have to get out of my chair and turn off the console.
All the things.
Exactly, and I hate doing that with my cybernetic leg, because some days I just don't want to move. Hence why I've said about digital downloads. I'm all for that as long as the cost is all in line. But damn, that game it's so good online. I really do enjoy it. The trick with the cloak and the armor and stuff like that, and it gets a bit tactical of how you can play. I play a lot of the objective games on there, but that hard crash thing is my word. Does that annoy me? It looks beautiful. The game plays so well. There's so many little stylish things you could do. I mean, we found ways that you can do environmental kills on a few of the levels. Like there's a helicopter near one of the objectives. One of the Spears games where there's a crashed helicopter and you can get inside the helicopter and pull the lever and the blades start rotating. So if any of the enemy even if you stop crouching as well, may I add, you'll be got as well, and so will your own team. But you can sort of fend the enemy off for a little bit while the rotors are spinning. And there's like, I forget the name of the level now, but you can basically shoot some of the gas pipes and flames will blow out of them. It's got some interesting things in there. I've been really enjoying that game.
I like environmental kills. I like using... My favourite kind of kills is when you can trip a switch and they get sucked into a vent or something, or a blender or a massive fan, and just watch them get took up.
Yeah, you can flood one of the levels that's set on like a dam, like a hydro plant, and you can flick a couple of switches in there and it'll actually flood one section briefly, like wash a few people off. Really, really good. Nice. Yeah, but the fact that they put that in multiplayer makes it that much more enjoyable for me, because I do go off trying to get those dog tags for getting those kills. I do enjoy doing that.
Well, that's good, because if you can bottleneck a few people into an area and then just run up and get a switch and then kill them all, like some kind of Bond villain, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's got that type of edge to it. But the single player as well. I mean that is really. It's not very long though. I don't think it's anywhere near as long as Crisis 2. But I did find I'm right at the end. I just haven't taken on the last section now. But I'm totally enjoying it. I mean, I'm not going to give away any spoilers, but it's a good angle. They kind of have done a bit of as somebody told me on Twitter, they've done a bit of a RoboCop with Prophet, because the dude I'm playing is pretty sure he's the guy that died at the start of Crisis 2. And I was thinking, what happened? Did I miss something like that? Did I miss Crisis Brotherhood or Revelations? But all in all, the story's been quite good. Graphically, brilliant. I don't use any of the guns. It's all about the bow and arrow, have to be said.
Oh, so I thought like in Far Cry. Um, I loved using the bow and arrow because it was so silent and you just felt like a pro doing it. The guns the bow and arrow. When you have a shooter but you have a bow and arrow, it just adds something to the game.
Yeah, well, I was doing that a lot. I mean, we were joking last E3. There was a lot of bow and arrows, and I know we're both going to be experiencing that with Tomb Raider, which is probably landing on my front doorstep very soon. So, but yeah, the bow and arrow thing, totally digging that.
Yeah.
Cloak and the changing the tension of firing the arrows and all the different tips you can put on there. Yeah, really, really enjoying that game. Quite surprising, really, because I was really interested in it towards the end of last year. Then I got a bit more hype with it. And then I think everybody I know on Xbox Live pretty much traded Aliens in to buy it. So there's a lot of people playing it. But yeah, I recommend people go and have a look at that game if you haven't done that already.
It's good though because it looks so good, but everything moves so quick in it.
Yeah.
It almost looks too good.
Yeah, and for the fact that I'm playing on a very creaky Xbox infrastructure. It does hold up very, very well, but I have seen some of the PC screens anyway, and I mean, the PC version is definitely the superior version to play on. Well, I'd definitely say that. But yeah, I recommend to everybody go and play Crisis 3. Now, Luke, you wanted a bit of a rant section about people leaking information, didn't you?
It wasn't what was leaked necessarily. It was how it's done year after year. You'll see a tweet, and then but just to get a bit of context, it's about Assassin's Creed 4 leak, cough cough, and it's like someone leaks something, and then someone will say something about that. Someone will catch wind of that, and then they'll post about it, and then it just spreads and spreads and spreads, and like it's almost too obvious of a publicity stunt. To me, it just thinks that someone in who involved with the game has kind of leaked it backhandedly, and then watch the snowball effect happen, and that just drives me insane. Everyone people just fall to the trap of it. They get so caught up in the leak, like it's a new thing, and then a day later the embargo's lifted and it's just news.
Yeah. No, I would have to say. I mean, it's not a good thing to do. It's sort of like I mean, Marcus, that we had on the show, said as well. It completely destroys PRs, doesn't it?
Well, he
PR
says
department.
the work, PR people work tirelessly to make sure a game is presented in the right way at the right time. The information, like Marcus knows how much work goes into that process, and to have some person, I'll say, just kind of go, oh well, there's information which I was told not to leak, but I've leaked it anyway. Is that side of it's ridiculous, and the way it's people just fall into the trap of all this news, and they're like, and then people post about the embargo, therefore breaking the embargo, and then they post the trailer like it's well because someone else has done it, I may as well do it, which is to me is just not. It's not really fair on people who've made the game.
No, and I mean we talk about like the review embargo. That now a lot of review. I mean Tomb Raider. I've also fair play to Tomb Raider. That review came out a lot earlier than the actual game was released, which is a bit of a rarity nowadays. Fair play to Square on that one. But there's a lot of information where if you get reviewers, if they break a review embargo, that's it. They're going to be blacklisted and blackballed, and they're never going to receive a game from those publishers again or developers. But when you get a situation like this, you just wonder what the comeback will be for a company which decides to go, oh, you know what, we've heard about this. We did an event. A lot of people knew about it. You know, people knew about this over a week ago before the information broke. They managed to keep their mouth shut. So as long as the necessary bans and blacklistings happen for these people that just wanted to generate hits on their site, that's definitely what they need to do.
Because then we get a better class of that gets thrown around a lot. I suppose you can call it journalism. because there's people who are on. I'm going to say people who are on Twitter who call themselves journalists are not journalists, and they get people who are on sites who are, and they try their best to make sure that the work they do is under the best, and you get little tour rags who just post it for the fun of it.
Yeah, and the bogus accounts as well.
Yes.
I mean, that's one thing we started to notice with the circles we move in and people we talk about in the journalist circles. There's a lot of bogus accounts that people set up just to leak information. It isn't a good idea. It knackers and hurts our industry. Leave it alone. Stop doing it. So, go on, Luke, what else have you been playing then this week?
I've been playing the Dawn Guard DLC for Skyrim.
Yeah.
Which is really good value for money. You get 2 quest lines. You get the Dawn Guard who are fighting against the vampires, and you get the quest line where you're fighting for the vampires, and you get to become what's known as a vampire lord, and you can have extra powers and sap life out of people, and then you can also be a vampire lord while bringing back to life a dead spider, and then having that do you fighting for you. It's pretty cool.
You see, I've gone the other way with that. I'm the medieval Buffy the Vampire style. I'm killing all the vampires. Yeah,
I love that. I did play I finished their storyline. I'm going along now to finish the vampires, but I do like the crossbow. It's a little addition to the story.
Yeah. No, I do like that. It's leveling it up, mate. I haven't got it as powerful as my like super kick-ass bow though. But there's a lot of DLC. Well, I played Hearthfire as well. I did build another house on Skyrim. But there's still the final. There's the third piece of DLC, which I need to get my hands on as well, where I want to Dragonborn.
Yeah, I haven't played. I really want to play that. I really do, because there's actual new places you can go, like from the game Morrowind. I'm looking forward to seeing that and what they've done with that.
Yeah, definitely. But anything else out there you've been playing rather than a back catalogue? You've been on any of the newer games?
Dead Space 3 I've been on.
Still?
Yes, still, and I was on chapter 10, and the last 2 games had about 12, 13 chapters. I've literally just found out the game's got 19 chapters, and while I'm enjoying it, it's like when a show extends itself on the series and doesn't end. I just wanted the game. I like... I'm on chapter 10, and it's 3 hours in, and yes, if it ended on chapter 13, it'd be short. But even now, 3 hours in, the game feels like a drag. It is the same... Shoot the legs, shoot the arms,
Are you being polite by saying it's boring?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I do want to finish it because I like the story of the whole, of all of the lore of that world, like the lore of that universe. I like, but I don't. It looks good. It plays okay, but it's
not what it used to be.
No, definitely not. It's definitely not Dead Space 1. Not by it. Not even. It lies asleep at night and dreams it could be Dead Space 1.
Yeah.
And now it wakes up in a cold sweat thinking, that's
what happened.
Yes, exactly.
Who broke me? Who put too much DLC in me?
Oh, it's crazy. You go to the suit kiosks, and you'll find, literally in like big writing, is like downloadable content. And you go on, and there's all the weapons you want. You've literally got to spend actual money to get points to then download that. And there's 2. I'm in chapter 10, and there's 2 suits you can get. Whereas in the first game, there was always like 3, 4, 5 suits you could upgrade to. And now the only reason I've got a second suit is because it's required by the game to have a snow suit in the level.
Yeah.
But it's not scary. There's like when they jump up at you and then there's the music goes and you're like, oh no, and then you shoot and they repeat the process. And there's big boss levels and
which is all tuck and rolling.
It's like do you know what it is? It's like Dead Space 2.5. It's what it feels like.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like a whole new game. Like there was a difference between Dead Space 1 and 2. Dead Space 2 was good because it was improved graphics and there was still the suspense, but this is just, oh, what can we do more? And it's just more. It's like Resident Evil 6. It's just action.
Yeah.
And less scare.
So they fucked it. We've talked about this. They fucked that game. We keep going back to it, but I think we're both pissed off at the damage that they did to that game.
Yes. Whereas Aliens, that is genuinely creepy. The level the Raven is, and we forgot to save it, so we played through the level shitting ourselves. We had to play through it again because we forgot to save it at the right time, and we didn't. And my friend Scott, who's a wuss, who does not think he's a wuss, was like, "Oh fuck," he didn't like it. And when we die and watch him kind of screaming alone, struggling to find the exit when the husks are chasing him, it's just so much fun.
Yeah, there wasn't any of that. As bad as many of that game's failings that it had, I did enjoy playing it co-op and the multiplayer as well.
There's one moment as well where you're in, I think it's one of the late levels. You go to the doorway and you see a soldier through the doorway, and he just looks at you, and then he just gets taken up
Yeah,
by the xenomorph.
snatched.
It's so good.
Yeah, there are a few good moments. Like I said, I did enjoy the multiplayer. Playing it with some very loud friends of mine. It's quite enjoyable. But yeah, that's the thing. I've got the, believe it or not, I've actually have the season pass. I got sent the season pass for that game. So I'm hoping the horde mode version of what they're going to put on there, the bug hunt, is going to be enjoyable, because I've heard there's going to be a monolithic patch for that game. Whether it's true or not, who knows? Because a lot of people have been very quiet about what happened with that game. But I'm sure there'll be some form of apology and explanation to what happened, and I hope to hear from them quite soon. So I think we've covered all points, haven't we, this week?
You have indeed.
But there is one thing I did want to mention. I mentioned it before a couple of weeks ago on the Chords for Life. What we're going to do is we're going to actually add a link on. There's an e-petition for the UK government to sign a petition for the umbilical cord donation. We're going to put a link on there. It's quite close. It's important to people that I care about. We did it as a family. Obviously, we said about the sad loss of Charlie Beard. A very young child, died of form of leukemia. But we're pushing his legacy on by making people aware of the importance of this. I'm going to keep banging on about it for as much, and if people moan about it, I don't care, because it's important.
I'll include the link for the petition on the website as well, so you can, and the Twitter link as well. So it's all rolled into one. And I've signed the petition. It literally takes 2 seconds of your life.
Exactly, and it's very, very important. It saves lives, and more importantly, it saves baby lives as well. Let's Charlie's legacy live on, and we're all going to do our bit for that. Okay, big important message over away from the game. But Luke, do you want to tell people how they can get in contact with us?
Yes, there is. Dear's Twitter is at Remedy Live. There's my Twitter, which is YouGamers, and then there's the actual Twitter of the podcast, which is at Britcast. It's very simple. And then if you go to YouTube, it is Britcast 007, because the Britcast was taken, unfortunately. And then our email is britcast007@gmail.com.
That's it. And very soon as well, against my better judgment, we will be bringing up a Facebook page.
Yes.
Where people can post comments. It'll be linked to our Twitter accounts. So send in your comments, give us insults, give us praise, ask us questions. We don't care. Either way, it's all good for us.
Yes.
And that was this week's show. So it's goodbye from me, Dave.
Goodbye from me, Luke.
And we will see you next week. Take
Toodles.
care. Bye-bye.